I saw my daughter-in-law throw a suitcase into the lake. The splash was too heavy for clothes. And then, a faint sound, a muffled cry. My hands trembled as I waded in, water biting my skin. The suitcase bobbed once, then began to sink. I caught the handle just before it disappeared. It was heavier than I imagined, like it was holding its breath. When I tore the zipper open, the scream that burst out wasn't mine. It was my grandson's. He was bound, dazed, eyes wide with confusion but alive. I pulled him out, pressing him to my chest, whispering promises I hadn't prepared to make. Behind me on the shore, she stood frozen, my daughter-in-law, the perfect widow in waiting. That night changed everything. But truth be told, my revenge started long before that lake ever rippled. She came into our lives like spring after a long winter, smiling, soft-spoken, with a kind of beauty that made men foolish and women careful. My son fell first. I didn't blame him. She had that disarming fragility, the kind that made you want to protect her from the world. I remember the day they married. She hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for raising him." It sounded sincere. I even believed it. But months after the wedding, little things began to shift. My son grew quieter, his eyes dimmed. The woman who once brought me tea every Sunday stopped visiting. When she did, she looked at me as if measuring something invisible between us. Then came the bruises, small, hidden under sleeves. He said he'd fallen. He never lied well. And then the night he didn't come home. The police called it an accident. I called it murder wrapped in circumstance. The car had gone off a bridge. The autopsy said alcohol. My son didn't drink, not since college. At the funeral, she wept beautifully, too beautifully. Every tear placed with precision, every sob just long enough to make the cameras linger. She held my hand like a performance, and when she turned away, I saw her eyes, cold, calculating, already moving on. That was when I began to plan. People mistake grief for weakness. It's not. Grief is focus sharpened by pain. I watched her rebuild her life, using my grandson as her prop. Social media posts of motherhood and healing. A new boyfriend before the first anniversary. And always, always the mask of innocence. I started small. Anonymous calls to child services, concerned citizen reports. She passed every inspection, but her confidence cracked just slightly. Then the quiet campaign began. I hired a private investigator, discreet but thorough. Within months, I had enough. Bank transfers, hidden accounts, messages to her lover discussing the payout. It wasn't just my son's death, it was premeditated. The insurance, the staged accident, the manipulation of grief. Every step documented, every move timed. But revenge, real revenge, isn't about exposure. It's about revelation, making them destroy themselves. I became kind again, inviting her to dinner, offering to help with the boy, pretending to forgive. She accepted, of course. Guilt never crossed her mind, only greed. I was the aging mother-in-law, lonely, fading, harmless. I told her I was revising my will. "It's only fair," I said. "You've been a good mother to him." Her eyes gleamed, just for a second. That was all I needed. Behind the scenes, I moved everything, every asset, every account, into a trust solely for my grandson, untouchable until he's of age. She wouldn't get a cent. But she didn't know that. When she asked to meet by the lake to talk privately, I knew what was coming. The same lake where my son's car had been found. I followed her, silent as memory. I arrived just in time to see the suitcase sink. She hadn't noticed me, not until I pulled it out. Not until she saw my grandson in my arms. Her face broke, first in shock, then in fury. "You weren't supposed to be here," she whispered. "Neither was my son," I wanted to say. The police came later. I'd already called them before stepping out of the house. Voice message, time-stamped. Her fingerprints were everywhere. When they opened her car trunk, they found rope, duct tape, and a bottle of sleeping pills. They took her away screaming my name. I didn't answer. In court, she tried to blame me, of course, said I'd framed her, that I'd lost my mind. But evidence speaks more clearly than grief ever could. The messages, the recordings, the insurance documents, every piece fell into place. And when they sentenced her, she looked at me across the room and mouthed, "You planned this." She was right. It's been a year now. My grandson laughs again. Sometimes he asks where his mother is. I tell him she's gone far away. It's the truth, in its own way. I sit by the same lake sometimes, listening to the water. It's quiet now, peaceful. I don't regret anything. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just the sound of a zipper opening, and the truth gasping for air.